And for this video, I go let you know the reason why all tribe for Nigeria, Yoruba, Igbo, Middle Belt, Hausa, all of them, they go lose Nigeria for people will be visitor. The reason and why it go dey very easy. Now I won't tell now for this video.
There is one music track by Fela. He called it Beast of No Nation. Go and listen to that music from Fela 70. Fela.
The Igbo are claiming Hausa because they want to take Ijo oil. And we, the Ijo people, will never allow it to happen. It will never happen in this life. Meanwhile, you see this Ijo man from Sokoto, he has 23 oil well in Ijo land. And there are so many other Ijo men from Adamawa, Soma, from Kanu, you know.
It's not a new thing that big men of God in this nation are always quiet in the face of injustice. Are you follow me? Especially those one from the West, from Yoruba land. I'm a Yoruba man, no, don't get me wrong, but I hate bigotry.
Hello, Abby. Come closer. Now, you cannot afford to miss the information that I'm bringing your way today. It will be easier for Biafra opportunity to be actualized than for an Igbo man to become the president of Nigeria. So I'm going to be on...
How can Nigerians be abandoning their country? And the president and the leadership, political leadership is saying, let us manage, things are hard everywhere. That is not why you are there. You are not just a political leader. You have also a moral responsibility to address the issues of countries. And if you say it's overwhelming, then resign. If people who work for the presidency or work...
Yes, if you observe me, I usually talk about condemning these attacks, whether it's in Benue State, Plateau, anywhere in Nigeria. But sometimes you hear people talk about Kama and the rest of them. Yes, it is. But in the actual sense, we must condemn these things and speak against them. If possible, act against it. Why I'm saying this thing is that many people, many bloggers have also said it, that if we don't condemn these things, they are going to finish with the Benue people. They are going to finish with the Middle Belt. Next target is Southeast. Already they are in Southwest. So it is not a new thing. People must condemn these things. I want to show you this thing that this guy said. It's not different from what we are saying, but to also make people understand this arithmetic. People feel that sometimes because it's not in my domot, I no go worry. Now turn by turn, at the talk I'm here steady, you bear me witness. Now turn by turn PLC. Once it's Salah, you see chicken, they laugh ram. Make you remember say Christmas they come. Now so it be. We must fight this common enemy. Why all these things are like this is because we are not united to fight this common enemy. Now so Benue people, they laugh Hausa people. Now it don't reach their turn. Well, let's hear from Tony. He's saying something, you know, that is very, very reasonable and make a whole lot of sense. We should not ignore it. We are coming. Let's just start with this.
Today na 4th of August 2026. And for this video, I go let you know the reason why all tribe for Nigeria, Yoruba, Igbo, Middle Belt, Hausa, all of them, they go lose Nigeria for people will be visitor. The reason and why it go dey very easy. Now I won't tell now for this video. It's so sad that this 21st century, where many of us suppose get sense, even elderly people no get sense. So as elderly people no get sense, which information that they give the children? Now before I dive into the reason for this video, you go see say Fulani go dey kpai Yoruba, Igbos go dey rejoice. Fulani go dey kpai Igbos, Yorubas go dey rejoice. Fulani go dey kpai Hausa, the rest of Nigeria, no concern them. Fulani go dey deal with Middle Belt. Some Igbos go say na karma. These are the easiest way where the enemy of Nigeria don't manipulate our mindset, our brain and everything. Where they make us see ourselves as enemy. We can't rejoice, can't support our enemy for unaliving our own self. I get one video where I do some days ago where they complain say you know they pay attention to the crime where they happen for Nigeria. Amnesty no they pay attention, international news no they pay attention, but Gaza, Iran, na be their major focus. Despite say war no dey Nigeria, Muslim Fulani militia they kpai Christian, and this Igbo elderly man make this comment. He said the same way all of you support Fulani Muslim to buy Igbo people and you are a Christian. Now wetin him talk. And this man will make this comment. No be small pikin, na elderly person. Na the picture na in dey my phone screen so. I no dey surprised for him comment though, because I know say foolish people self they grow old. And I know say some people get kind of a mindset. That is why I dey do this video to address foolish Nigerians. The situation of Nigeria don't watch to the extent. I see one video where one Yoruba man they rejoice say Fulani people go buy Igbo people. And I've seen a lot of videos where Igbos they rejoice say Fulanis they buy Yoruba people. It's so sad that we find ourselves in this kind of mess just because of say we lack understanding. And mind you, me while they talk to you, na Benue boy, the thing no they too affect my own people. And if you see me they complain every day, not because of say the thing don't affect one of my family member or don't affect one person who I know. But the reason why they talk is say na my region the thing they happen, and if you don't even affect me, if care is not taken, it go reach me. So I know they stupid and dumb to the wait till when the thing affect me before I start speaking out. Many of you don't forget say this whole issue where they happen for Benue, it started for north. Na Hausa that they buy, and when Hausa call for our help, every other person say na Hausa people use and bring problem to themselves. Now then invite Fulani, make them force their problem. Now the thing don't they affect every region. Because of say when we supposed tackle the whole issue, we dey talk say na Hausa problem. And the funniest part be say the people where the thing never affect, they believe say the thing no fit affect them. Now so we self middle belt been they make mouth when the thing they affect the Hausa people. We talk say no be our problem. Say the thing no fit affect us. Now fast forward to today now, middle belt is suffer from these same people where they been deal with Fulani, where they been deal with Hausa people. Whether you like it or not, wetin dey happen for Nigeria no be karma. Now some group of people we want take over the country. But in one way or the other, they go use their tactics. They deceive every region. No region go escape them until they go take each and everybody land. Sometimes Yoruba go talk say, they no fit take over Yoruba land. And sometimes na Igbo go talk say they no fit take over our land. And it's happening in your very face unknowingly to you people. Now waiting they use get northern people, now religion. Now waiting that they use get our people, religion and by force. Now waiting they will use enter Yoruba people now, no be same religion. And waiting that they use enter Igbo people, no be your politician and money. So if the thing no fit happen now, in future, if care is not taken, it go happen. So if you believe say this thing no be your problem, waiting they happen for middle belt na karma, you are deceiving yourself. Because these people don't build standard wey be say when it go begin happen to Yoruba and Igbo, people will go watch say go talk say na maybe na karma. Because when Igbo and Yoruba suppose fight for Benue people or for middle belt or for Hausa people, they no fight. So karma na in they face them. Whereas no be karma, whereas na the nonchalant attitude where they don't behave right from time, na in they affect them in future. It be like say I don't they talk too much, but anybody will understand, go understand. Anyway, share your thought on the comment section.
So it's as pure as that. And that is the truth about the whole matter. Because if you watch out, even the one that happened last Sunday at Enugu in the church, where they came from the bush and made their way with the seminarian and the catechist and the others. That one, what are you going to call it? Is that still karma or another thing? Does it have another name? You see, we must condemn evil. I will show you something that I was surprised, hearing this coming from a Yoruba man and a pastor, at that, though I know that the guy usually speak up when it comes to issues like this. You will not miss this. I want you to watch what this guy said concerning Yoruba pastors. Even he condemned, in fact, he finished CAN, Christian Association of Nigeria, and other things that he said. Let's go there.
It's not a new thing that big men of God in this nation are always quiet in the face of injustice. Are you follow me? Especially those one from the West, from Yoruba land. I'm a Yoruba man, no, don't get me wrong, but I hate bigotry. Where something is bad, it is what? It is bad. It doesn't have another name. Bad is bad. Especially those one from the Yoruba land, most of them, apart from Bishop Oyedepo, the rest of them, they romance politicians enough. And so because of that, when you keep collecting, the Bible said, gift blinds the eyes of the righteous. When they keep giving you envelope, when it's time for you to speak, you will not be able to speak. So I'm happy that Pastor David Ibiome, a man that is, wonderful man of God, a father, and he spoke ferociously last week. And I'm happy about that. Please celebrate him one more time. Yeah. Also, I want to also appreciate the Catholic Bishop Conference of Nigeria. They call them, the leadership of Catholic are usually called the Catholic Bishop Conference, just like we have PFN and CAN. So the Bishop of Nigeria, they call them the Bishop, they call them the Catholic Bishop Conference. And they went to President Tinubu, they went to meet him. How many of you saw that meeting? They met with him and they told him their mind according to the reality of the nation. They said things are bad. You know, whenever people go before the president, they tell him sweet things. They don't tell them the truth. And they said, things are what? Are bad. The economy has tanked. There is insecurity everywhere. There was a time to travel in this nation, you want to go on a road trip for the fun of it. Today, if you try to be calculating ransom. And so a lot of things are going wrong. And so the Catholic bishop, I'm not a Catholic, but when we see good men, let's celebrate them. Are you following me? When they have done well, we'll say they have what? They have done well. Sometimes ago, many of you remember, I came out and I called all the fathers of faith to come out and speak against the consistent killings and kidnapping and terrorism and banditry that is happening in Nigeria. Many have not spoken out. In fact, a big one of them went before the international community and said Tinubu is trying his best. People are whitewashing it. Are you following me? One of our fathers, when he said Tinubu is doing his best, he said, cannot blame me, he's doing it. I said, no, sir. Being a president means that for you to be, you are called commander-in-chief for a reason. Is that not? There's a reason you are called commander in what? In chief. So for instance, when it is to steal mandate, you can steal mandate. But to do the work, it has become a problem. So they told him the truth, and they told him the reality of things. Things are bad. Economy has tanked. There is insecurity everywhere. Things are not working. Well, as usual, the man did not accept their words. He was politicking about it. But I'm glad for one thing, they have told him the what? The truth. We are hoping maybe PFN too will come out one day and say the truth like this. And not be romancing them. Maybe Khan. No, don't forget about Khan. Khan will not come out. Khan is compromised. Khan is corrupt. Corrupt and compromised. I'm saying it, I'm not... Khan is what? Corrupt and compromised. So if it is Khan, lift Khan away. Our next topic, maybe PFN will go and do the same thing, just the way the Catholics have done. You see, in the days of old, in the Bible, kings were tormentors of the kings. Priests. Prophets speak to the prophet, to kings. They put them, they tell them the truth how it is. Some of them put their life on the line. Yes, they say the truth. How long should we continue to romance politicians? Because we want for crumbs. No, now we cannot progress that way. So I want to appreciate the Catholic bishops of Nigeria for going to the president and telling him the truth. May God continue to bless you all in the name of Jesus. The reason why we have been in this situation is because for many years Christians have been too quiet, and we all know that the church plays a vital role in nation building. No nation has been very, very big except by the church. Go and check it in history. Are we together? So we want to appreciate them for the good they have done. Let's not stop advocating for Nigeria. If you ask me, I've told you before, I don't believe in one Nigeria. It's a scam. Are you following me? I don't believe in one Nigeria. It is what? A scam. The day we are ready to tell ourselves the truth, we'll know what to do. But for now, let's keep praying. Are you following me? Let's keep praying. But whenever we see the truth, let's say the truth. Let's say that it is. The Lord will help us in the name of Jesus.
All right. You are welcome back from that. I tell you that if that pastor, we have like 10 or 20 of them in Nigeria, I mean the Pentecostal side, because it's not usually, in the conventional, Catholic and Siemens church. It's usually these Pentecostal people that preach. I am not condemning anybody, but the guy, I want to join my faith. What he said is true. Speak out, because once you are collecting envelope, you cannot talk, you cannot speak again. And tribalistic pastors, in fact, he has said it all. Well, Autumn, if I pronounce it well, the former Benue State governor, people are serious about this Fulani thing. He said it. Nobody can come and take over his land or Islamize him or whatever in their own land. Well, let's hear him once again.
But where a particular ethnic group wants to take over the country and make some of us slaves, I can never be a slave to anyone. It is better I die and not be alive. I cannot be a slave to any Fulani man. We have chosen to say the truth. Even if we are going to die, let us die and let tomorrow appreciate what we said. And so, as far as I'm concerned, The federal government is complicit. The day they want this insurgency to finish, it will be done. Actively, they are working with Turkey, they are working with Saudi Arabia, they are working with everything to Islamize. But the real agenda is to take over Nigeria. And all these insurgents that you see happening is from Mauritania, is from Senegal, is from Cameroon, is from all over the place, trying to ensure that the indigenous people of this country do not have a say, but the Fulanis have a say. We are not against Fulani people. In government here in Benue State, I have Fulani people who are in my government. I have no issue about Fulanis, indigenous people. Everybody in this country, Nigeria, comes from somewhere. Even the two people where I govern today as governor, they come from somewhere. But we have settled. Today, because of the rise in population, there is nowhere you can say that the T people or Benue people should leave Benue State to go to Cameroon. Where is the land? To go to where? Where is the land? And so this is the main problem that we're having in this country. If this government will appreciate and stop deceit against the people, we shall all work as a team. Nigerians, wherever we come, let us cohabit and live together. But where a particular ethnic group wants to take over the country and make some of us slaves, I can never be a slave to anyone. It is better I die and not be alive. I cannot be a slave to any flag.
So it has been established long ago that Nigeria has a common enemy. See, all the time we go there here, they talk. Do you know that it's not today that they started saying this thing? Do you know the music track? There is one music track by Fela. He called it Beast of No Nation. Go and listen to that music from Fela, 70. Fela, long time ago. So it's not today thing. He titled it Beast of No Nation. Go and listen to it. You hear what Fela said. So it's not a today thing, you know. So having said that, this guy is telling us, you know, trying to tell Ijaw people what is their problem. Are Igbos their problem? Small time they talk of oil. Igbos no get oil. Almost all the states in Igbo land has oil. So what is the problem? Even gas join. Gas where they Igbo land pass the one where they Niger Delta. So what is your problem? Eh? If there you are there now, if that is your problem, well, let's hear what this guy, you know, is telling us.
Igbos are claiming South because they want to take Ijaw. They are claiming South because they want to take Ijaw. And we will never allow it. Ndi Igbo are claiming South because they want to take Ijaw. And we, the Ijaw people, will never allow it to happen. It will never happen in this life. Meanwhile, you see this Ijaw man from Sokoto, he has 23 oil well in Ijaw land. And there are so many other Ijaw men from Adamawa, from Kano. You know, there are Ijaw, we have Ijaw branches in Adamawa, Sokoto, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, KG, and so many other northern states. There are so many branches there, and all of them have oil well. But those indigenous Ijaw people, they don't have an oil well, but we don't have problem with it. Yes, we support it. Those ones from Sokoto, those Ijaw people from Sokoto, we support them. But you see those Igbo people, we will never allow them come close to Ijaw oil, because the Ijaw oil belongs to the Ijaw people from Sokoto and from.
Yes, if you can remember some time ago, just some few weeks ago, that talk of oil well came out everywhere, social media, but it didn't die down like that. You see, let me tell you, Nigerian system, the law has made it that anything that you want to struggle for, it must pass through your representative in the National Assembly. Now, if they have agreement with those in the National Assembly, what else do we expect? If not, how can some laws will be passed like this? You expect Christians to talk. In the National Assembly, they will not talk. Everybody will keep quiet. like that law of, public preaching. And no Christian, and there are enough Christians in that house. Did anybody say anything? Did anybody talk about the Muslims blocking the road while praying? Well, that is it. Let's hear 5 reasons why this lady is saying that she has 5 good reasons why Igbos.
Hello, Ivy Ami. Come closer. Now, you cannot afford to miss the information that I'm bringing your way today. It will be easier for Biafra opportunity to be actualized than for an Igbo man to become the president of Nigeria. So I'm going to be unpacking 5 reasons why an Igbo man cannot be the president of Nigeria. If you put both of them in pari passu, I can tell you that it will be easier for Biafra to be actualized than it is for an Igbo man to become the president of Nigeria. Now, number one is that Britain is still colonizing Nigeria. Nigeria definitely gained independence in 1960, right? Good. But as we speak, Nigeria is still being colonized by the Britain. It is called indirect colonization. Do you understand? So Britain is indirectly, colonizing Nigeria. So they still call the shots for Nigeria in so many things which you and I will not know. But they are the one that says who does what. For example, who gets into Aso Rock. It is the Britain that takes that decision. Do you understand? So that is number one. Number two. Now number two is that Britain is owing Biafra to the tune of 8 quadrillion, 111 trillion, 39 billion, 40 million and 1 naira only. That is the amount of money that Britain should be refunding to Biafra. And sincerely, by the time Britain is done refunding this money, their economy will go very flat. Like, I don't know whether they will still be existing. Do you understand? This is the reason why they are going to say, Igbo president, no, never. We move, right? Number three is that Britain is the brain behind Nigeria yanking off history as a subject. Why? So Britain want to ensure that there's no grounds where Biafrans can stand to make demands of the figure that I mentioned in number 2. The penultimate number is number 4. Now, number 4 is that Peter Obi is a very fantastic candidate when you're talking about Nigerian presidency. Again, Britain will not allow him to do that because they believe that they will not listen to them. Do you understand? They want somebody that will be there and they will be remoting the person. Do this, he will do that, he will do. So Peter Obi will not allow anybody to remote him because guess what? He want to do the right thing. He want to keep a clean sheet. He want to make sure that he does the right thing as a president. And unfortunately, Britain is not looking for the good guy. Britain wants the Jagaban that can go the other way around. You understand? Britain wants the bad guy that can listen to them and do whatever they ask him to do. So for that reason, I so love H.E.P.O.B. He's a true man of integrity. I mean, sincerely, when you talk about anybody that has tried to cross the seat of power, in terms of qualification, I will give it to P.O.B. like 1 million times before I think maybe there's a plan B or I want to consider someone else. All right. So P.O.B. is a fantastic candidate. If I'm going to vote, I'm definitely going to vote P.O.B. Yes, I will vote him. But again, Britain will not allow him to enter Aso Rock. Take it to the bank and cash it out. I'm telling you. And this is the last number, which is number 5. Britain doesn't want Nigeria to be disintegrated. You know why? First, to Britain, Nigeria is a source of revenue. Just like the way a government of a country generates revenue through particular whatever. So to Britain now, Nigeria is like for them crude oil or cocoa or whatever mineral resources. So they generate money through Nigeria. So trying to disintegrate Nigeria is a big deal. Okay? So that way, Britain is not going to allow that. So that's why I told you that it will be easier for Biafra to be granted and say, oh, you push, you go, than it will be for an Igbo man to become the president of Nigeria. Now, do you agree with me? Do you share in my sentiments? I'd like for you to go ahead and share your honest opinion in the comment. Don't forget to smash the like button, favorite this video, repost it, and share it with all your contacts. This is where I'm going to peg it right now. I shall see you on my next one. Bye-bye. See you.
So, do you agree with what she said? Your comment should appear in the comment section. Let's hear what you think. Well, I want to leave you with this. When I come back, we are going to conclude.
Message directed at Aso Rock from a Catholic priest, Monsignore Obiora Ike, who's accusing people around President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of protecting him from the realities on the ground. Now, the priest made these comments in an interview that's absolutely going viral, where he responded to the criticism Archbishop Emeritus Cardinal John Onyekan received from the president's team after last week's meeting between the president and religious leaders. Let's watch.
How can Nigerians be abandoning their country? And the president and the leadership, a political leadership, is saying, let us manage, things are hard everywhere. That is not why you are there. You are not just a political leader. You have also a moral responsibility to address the issues of countries. And if you say it's overwhelming, then resign. If people who work for the presidency or work for government or work for even other institutions peddle in lies, in pretense, in fiddling while Rome burns, in not giving good advice, it doesn't turn out good. And to act like an attack dog for great people who are patriotic for our country is something that is not only unfortunate, it is a disgrace. And it's not about defense, it's about listening. People in positions of power must listen, and listening makes you stronger.
And let's be clear here. Monsignore Ike is not saying that President Tinubu isn't trying. He explicitly said that he's doing his best, but his message is resonating with a lot of Nigerians who have this lingering feeling that their lived experiences are totally different from that of the people in this administration. And it's a similar sentiment that's also being laid bare by one of Nigeria's most watched prophetic voices, Primate Elijah Ayodele. And in a clip from his Sunday sermon, he warns about the dangers of being disconnected from the people. Let's take a look.
Bishop, is it Archbishop Onyekan, of what he have said to the president? Leave him alone. If you like, let him take it. If you like, don't let him take it. There's anger and hunger in the land. By the election, you see people how they will show their grievances. Rice and money will not stop it too. We are telling you the right thing now, to do the right thing. All these, I will call them surrogate aids. Right? They will push you to fire. Pam! When fire burns you, you will be the only one to cry. Tinubu, if you lose this election, it will pain you seriously.
And Rufai, I'm going to come straight to you on this story because it just feels like the religious leaders are in a lot of ways putting words to what a lot of people are feeling, but they don't necessarily have access to the president. So, people are really rallying around what they're saying.
No, but what they are saying is getting to the president. I mean, Dr. Bati served in the villa. He can tell us some total of media exposures and media talk and things is always submitted to the president. So there's no how the president of the country will not know about all of these things. He knows. But you see, the thing about him is, it's about the ideas. He thinks this is the best thing possible. But there's also another way to doing things. So, public opinion and public backlash. It's not that he's not aware people are not saying it. On the three last interventions of the president, especially when he spoke to the Catholic bishops, and he also spoke to the Oyo State traditional rulers, he pretty much reacted to what was aggregated public opinion against him. So if you look at the president these days, he's using most of these meetings he's having to respond to aggregated public opinion against him. That's an indication that he knows. So all of the talk that, they are shielding him, is not aware. He's aware. And he's aware that people are suffering and all of that. That's why anytime he comes out, he tries to justify and advance his own narrative. But you see, there's a difference in which you can announce or advance your own narrative. And the question is your narrative landing? Largely, his narrative is not landing. Because the reforms he's saying he's doing is not permeating through the people that are suffering all of this. So when he says, we pulled out subsidy, we made savings and all of that, yes. When they say, we have reserves and all of that, yes. But that narrative is not landing because people are seeing hunger, poverty, deprivation, hopelessness, insecurity, killings. I mean, we talked about Sokoto the other day, just now. So that's just it. So what is happening in the spaces is a coalition of narratives, and that's why. How many people does he have in his media desk? About 10, 15 of them, or how many of them? Quite a lot of them, about 12 of them. My brother, Timtokwe Ajayi, Egbobi, Bayon Onuga, my brother, Otega Ogra, a couple of people there. What are they doing there? To be able to shape narrative, but it's now narrative colliding with narrative. And it depends on the one that is landing with the people. And he also has a retinue of supporters amplifying this is narrative. So that's just it. I don't think he's not aware of what's going on.
I'll take your comments all together with the next few stories, because we also have some breaking news.
Francis Ike, I think he's a venerable of the Catholic Church. He was defending John Cardinal Onayekan, and everything that he said is in order. He was saying that the president should abide by the truth, and that he has an obligation to tell the people of Nigeria the truth. You can't quarrel with all of that. And that if he cannot do the right thing by the Nigerian people, he is urging the president to resign. The only part of it that I don't agree with in what he said, he was saying that Daniel Biola is not a man you can take serious. No, I disagree with him on that score. We take him serious. He has an important portfolio. He speaks for the president. And when he says something, we can take a look at it. He cannot just say we should not listen to him. But the Monsignor, as you called him, went a step further to say that the president should not listen to people who lie to him. Well, I don't think that the president should surround himself with liars. Now you mentioned the Prime Minister Ayodele, who is saying, if President Tinubu is not careful, or was he so affirmative that he will lose the election in 2027? Well, how is he so sure? I mean, he says he's a prophet. He's a prophetic man, but Primate has said things in the past that did not come to pass. So he cannot be so sure that, by some kind of divine thing, Tinubu will lose the election. We would rather have the Nigerian people make their choice. Always. I end with the Catholic Church. 30 years ago, March 18, 1996, these same Catholic bishops, they told the Abacha government, we are tired of dictatorship. Catholic bishops tell Abacha, tell magazine. I think March 18, I said, yes, 1996.
30 years ago.
So the Catholic Church has a reputation for speaking his mind. So when, whether it's Professor Ike speaking, or Cardinal John Onayekan, or the Catholic Bishops Conference, the Catholic Bishops is not in the business of fearing the Nigerian government. They've been doing it forever. So it's for, the government of the day to listen.
Very interesting.
And it's good also, maybe, to hear Primate Ayodele, also saying, we are advising President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The other day, it was Prophet, or is it Pastor David Oyedepo? Bishop David. These titles are so important.
There's so many.
Bishop David Oyedepo. Also saying that, my people, you cannot be killing my people due to insecurity, and I will not speak up. What we want in Nigeria is that prophetic church that defends the interest of the people and that speaks truth to power.
Absolutely.
So if pastors want to speak, let them speak. The only part I have a problem with is I heard from God. No, express your opinion as a citizen and say this is how you see it. And it's for government also to consider
and listen.
All informed opinions.
Absolutely. Very, very clear points, and thank you for that little history lesson. But let's now turn to a story that will stop you in your tracks. With a new Premium Times report revealing that a man on death row in Ibara prison in Abeokuta, Elijah Oyebode, has been going live on TikTok, where he's gained a following, participated in live streams watched by thousands, and even gotten paid by people outside prison. And in a monitored live session, he claims that many prisoners also have access to phones, internet, and a lot more. Let's take a look.
85,000. More chargeable fine. Kikirika, more 75,000. What I told them, I'm only 5,000. Ni moru la kowan to fame. Ni moru drug to listen. To buy the low. ṣe business everybody tó bá ti lówó ẹ lọ́wọ́ bóyá kárí ló lè ta ni ọtí ló fẹ́ ta ni igbó ló fẹ́ ta ni ìmọ̀ orúkọ tó fẹ́ ta tó bá ti lówó ẹ lọ́wọ́ fọ́ọ̀n tó wà nígbà ó lé ní 2000.
He said that there are 2,000 phones in that prison. His account has since disappeared from TikTok. Most of the clips are gone. It took a lot of time to find those ones. And for context, Oyebode has been on death row since 2019 for conspiring to kill an Osun State University student. In the report, the Nigerian Correctional Service acknowledged the security vulnerability and contraband smuggling, but emphasized that they maintain a zero-tolerance policy for unauthorized gadgets. And I'll take all of your reactions, but let me just take this quick one from Jabriz on X, who said, "A man sentenced to death for the ritual murder of a final year student is freely doing TikTok lives, collecting gifts, exposing phone smuggling rings from inside the prison. If death row inmates have better internet access than most citizens, then the entire correctional system has completely collapsed. This isn't just a security failure, it's a national embarrassment." And I haven't yet gotten a sense of what his actual fate is now. I think in the report, the Nigerian Correctional Service hasn't said what the repercussions are for streaming on TikTok. What do you make of this?
There are a lot of things that happen on Nigerian social media, honestly, like a lot of madness that goes on. Even though he wasn't incarcerated, isn't on the same TikTok that the terrorist was doing giveaway and Nigerians were there asking for money for the terrorists to give them. Funny, but not funny. The truth is that, like the statement release said, I haven't done my research and things haven't changed. There's zero tolerance for use of communication devices in correctional service centers. But what do we see? A violation of set down rules, laws, regulations within these centers. It's in the same, if we're to do an expose on what is going on currently in the Nigerian Correctional Service, we're going to have years or shocks, ripple effect across the country. It's in these correctional services that you have room and parlor. You have special centers where people can, almost have like a little bungalow. It's in this correctional service recently that a well-known figure came out and a few months later did baby dedication, and people have been trying to calculate that. How did this happen? Was it supernatural, conception? There are many, many issues that that is wrong with the Nigerian Correctional Services. So what we'll keep asking for is an overhaul, a rejigging of the process. But unfortunately, and it's going to take a lot of money, it's going to take people who are not corrupt. So it speaks to a larger problem that we have in the nation, where different centers, different MDAs are plagued with corrupt officials who would compromise their rules, set down rules and regulations in exchange for money, influence, or power. This is what we see across board. So maybe let me just use this opportunity to make a call to the Ministry of Interior, who is responsible for the correctional service, that they should look into a reformation, rehabilitation of our correctional services. On one hand, there are people who are languishing there, who are living in penury, and it defeats the purpose of the name being a correctional service. People that go in there and come out, a shadow of themselves, not able to integrate back into society. On the other hand, there are people who are there who are living large and are not even facing the consequences of their action. So a whole total overhaul is required.
Right.
But as with a number of centers in Nigeria, we'll keep speaking, we'll keep talking about it. But I hope that whoever is responsible, culpable in the Ibarra prison service should be investigated and should be brought to book.
Absolutely. Rufai and then Dr. Abati, or...
Okay. See, Ayo, I get all what you have said. But again, I disagree with you. You know why? I'm a brutalist.
You're pragmatic.
I'm very pragmatic. I don't speak English. I don't deceive myself. Like I was Ilutila, Dr. Abati. The country is gone.
No, I must keep hoping.
I'm an optimist.
No, I'm an optimist.
Okay.
Yes, I will continue to.
Okay.
There has to be a good somehow.
No, I'm a patriot too. But a patriot is also a brutally honest person.
Okay.
That's why Henry Thoreau said the only place for a just man in an unjust society is the prison. Because a just man will always be put in the prison because he will never align. Way back the 80s, Big shout out to Archive and the work they do. In fact, I think I should be able to get some donation across to those body of NGOs where they archive newspaper materials. Can we have a one house, please? Big shout out to them. In the 80s, there was a story of somebody that a warder helped to go collect money while this person was in prison for a drugs case. And they brought the money in. You know how they were exposed, how they were reviewed? When there was a disagreement on the sharing formula of the money they collected between the warder and the prisoner. This was way back in the 80s and 90s. It has just gotten worse off. We were here when we were reviewing Bobrisky matter now. If it's not because of Very Dark Man, are we even going to know that transpired?
Yeah.
If thanks to Very Dark Man. So is that only one you say? They say they have room and parlor and everything. It's an ecosystem. See, prison is like hotel. It's how you have money, you enjoy yourself.
Okay.
You can take top
Dr. Abati.
Executive suite.
Ayo.
Okay.
It's how if you have money, you can have presidential suites. You can do visits, you can do anything and all of that. So the question is, if somebody goes to pray, ask them, do you have money? Because it's how you have money, you enjoy yourself. So all of this, you think that the warders there do not know that he's doing all of this live stream. Who is charging the phone for him?
Right.
Who is supplying the lights? Who is buying all the needed things? He talked about drug and all that. Who is bringing all those things? You think it's not an ecosystem?
Those are the questions.
It's the way you have money, you enjoy yourself. So forget it. So see, the Nigerian prison system is gone. You see, they now went to, they thought by changing the name to correctional facility and all that. Which correction?
Dr.
It's not
Abati,
correcting anything. What we can call on them is a systematic way to change the culture, which will never happen overnight, which needs a lot of sincerity. So the very first question we should ask is, where is the reconnaissance service that goes on in the prison? Thanks to Fisayo Shoyombo. Fisayo Shoyombo acted as a prisoner to be able to get us into what happens in the prison, and he made that big revelation. If Nigeria truly wants to change, it is not Fisayo Shoyombo that's supposed to be doing that work all the time.
Right.
It is the government that should have mystery choppers deliberately infiltrate the prison ecosystem, put people in the prison that did nothing wrong, but they should gather information and start to solve the problem from within. That's how we can start to change culture, if those people will not be corrupted in no time.
I mean, what a story.
Okay. I think the subject, this is the way I see it. In August 2019, August 15, 2019 to be precise, President Muhammadu Buhari signed the Nigerian Correctional Services Act of 2019, repealing the Prisons Act of 2004. And we said at that time that, look, the kind of reform that you need in the Nigerian prison system, correctional system, is not change of nomenclature, that it has to go further. Now, this is the dilemma that we face, that, a man in prison could be behaving as a free citizen. They will justify it and say, well, after all, it's correctional service and all of that. You can also argue from that angle. But the truth of the matter is that the reform that we need in the prison system in Nigeria has not yet happened. One, the conduct of the warders. The warders, their complicity has already been explained by Rufai Hosseini, and that is part of the problem. Okay, the title change. Why about the training and the conduct of the warders themselves?
Right.
The second thing is about the state of the prisons. Now, that picture of the prison in Ibarra, Abeokuta, or the picture of any other prison anywhere in this part of the world, these are colonial prisons. Those prisons need to be demolished and rebuilt. And that's where the Ministry of Interior comes in, and President Tinubu comes in. Those prisons are colonial structures. They are overcrowded, they are poorly maintained, they are run down. That kind of environment is not a place where you can find any correction. And that's why this particular guy is talking about whatever drug you want to buy inside any prison in Nigeria, you will get it.
Unbelievable.
3, this particular candidate whose matter you are reporting has been on the death row since 2019.
Yes.
He was sentenced to death by hanging. Are you aware that one of the major problems, one of the major areas in which we have unemployment in Nigeria today is that we don't have enough hangmen in Nigeria? People say there are no jobs. There are no jobs. But if you count in this country, you don't have up to 10 hangmen.
Okay.
It's a job nobody wants to do.
Right.
So maybe they should recruit more hangmen so that when justice is given, when judgment is given, justice is delivered.
And on that
Otherwise, this particular fellow will no longer be on TikTok. But we don't have hangmen in Nigeria. So for all those young men out there who are saying they are very confident looking for jobs, there is vacancy in Nigerian prisons, correctional service, for jobs to be hangmen. The bigger problem, however, is that many of our governors refuse to sign death sentence. They will tell you that, okay, you know, what they cannot create, they cannot destroy. So there are so many dimensions to it. I'm just saying that it's a very complex issue. But one way forward is for the recruitment of more hangmen.
On that
who can ensure that justice is done.
I mean,
because the governors will not sign, Dr. Abati, so there's no need for them.
You never know.
Catch-22.
Some governors will sign, but there's nobody
except
to carry out the ruling.
Okay.
So that particular fellow is enjoying the fact that there's a shortage of hangmen.
I don't think people would not want to take that job. What's the remuneration? What are the benefits?
We'll look into it.
You can investigate. You can consider it as a part-time engagement.
Exactly.
I'm sure
we'll look into it.
Let's
move now. Let's move now. I mean, what a story. What a story, and great submissions from everyone. And we'll stay on this idea of TikTok lives because Nigerians online are totally divided over this next story as well, with reports stating that a soldier in the Nigerian army was allegedly arrested after he logged into a TikTok live in his military uniform and asked a content creator, King Pedro, for money because he hadn't eaten. The claims are shocking, and all of it was caught on camera on Saturday. Let's watch.
Been in 5 years and he no get sense, no say you no supposed to wear army uniform, come and live stream. They ask person for money. Una no get sense. Some of una, they supposed cut commercial. You go inside the open it with you now until you go see me yourself until you go see yourself on social media. Now that time your ear you go clear until they come out that uniform for your body. Now that time your eye go clear. Una go wear army uniform. You go inside the joke with you. No worry. Una go wear army uniform. You go they come on live stream. The third person say you have not eaten. Una don't even get respect for that army uniform where you wear. You don't have respect for that uniform where you wear. You go come on live stream. The third person say you never chop. You don't have shame. You don't even if you don't have shame, you cannot respect the uniform you are putting on. The uniform you are putting on. Some of you they're supposed to lock you in that room. After locking you in that room for so long, they will be caught martial.
Dr. Abati, I'll take your very quick comments on this story. This soldier is said to be attached to the Nigerian Army Aviation Hangar in Niger State, and online reactions are mixed. On the one hand, the official uniform is obviously a symbol of discipline, national service. But on the other hand, it's concerning to hear him say that he can't afford food. I mean, the Army has not publicly released a statement on this particular incident, but it's also coming right as President Tinubu on Tuesday approved a 30 to 80% salary increase for the armed forces, saying the people who help to keep us safe must be supported in their course of duties to the nation. But what do we make of soldiers being on TikTok lives? I mean, TikTok is such a central topic today. You know, your response very quickly.
What we know, what we have heard, what we've been told is that soldiering is a noble profession and that, you know, it's meant for people, serious-minded people. And that's why they have the rules, not just in the armed forces, but also even in the paramilitary services, that there are certain things you cannot do when you are in uniform. Even eating when you have your cap on is not allowed. And then there is a rule about the use of the social media that I think both the police and other agencies of government have had to point out, that you can't just go on social media as an officer. So this particular officer is guilty as charged. He was alleged to have been begging for money from a certain King Pedro. But the latest that we know is that he has since been arrested. He was found in Badagry, far away from his place of deployment, and the authorities, the military authorities, I guess, would address this matter in line with their rules. But the basic rule for those in uniform is that uniform has to be respected. But we have reached a level where even policemen board public buses, and they say they are officer, and an officer or staff is not expected to pay transport fares. So when you have officers, so-called, presenting themselves as motor park touts, that is how bad they have taken the reputation of the uniform services, and that is unacceptable.
Absolutely.
I got it, man. Somebody said, advice to politicians, please do prison reforms and take care of the prisons well, because a lot of you will normally retire to that place.
Wow. That's good.
That's a good advice.
Yes.
Thank you for that comment.
Because a lot of politicians retire.
The Senate is where many of them retire.
No, but a lot of them.
We'll continue.
You want to see a lot of them in Kuje? They go there a lot.
We'll continue this conversation. We need to move now to our good news report with Pastor William Kumi, the general.
Yes, viewers, I thank you for coming along with me. If you have not subscribed, please click on the subscription button, notification bell, like our videos, and don't forget to share them. I am still Chinedu till I come your way next time.